At my housewarming party, my mother-in-law said, "This house is too nice for you. You should give it to my son instead." I laughed, until she gave him a fake contract, trying to make him the owner. What my husband said next made her scream. Some background: my husband, Liam, and I had been married for 5 years. We weren't rich, but we worked hard and made smart choices with money. I grew up in a working-class family and always saved carefully. Liam's mom, Natalie, believed her son should be treated like a king. She always thought Liam was perfect and that I wasn't good enough. She spent years trying to control him and criticized everything I did, my cooking, my job, even my clothes. But Liam always defended me, which made her dislike me even more. This house was my dream home. After years of saving and working extra hours, I finally bought my first house, with my own money. The house was only in my name. Liam had past credit issues, so we agreed it made more sense this way. But Natalie didn't see it that way. When she first saw the house, she wrinkled her nose like she smelled something bad. "This is too nice for you," she said. "Are you sure you can afford it?" I should have known she was planning something. The party. A week later, we had a small housewarming party with close family and friends. Everything was going well, until Natalie made an announcement. She tapped her wine glass with a fork, cleared her throat, and smiled. "This house is too nice for you," she said. "You should let my son have it instead." Everyone went silent. I laughed, thinking it was a joke, but Natalie wasn't joking. She handed Liam a stack of papers. "Here you go, sweetheart," she said, smiling. I looked at the papers. My name was crossed out, and Liam's was written in. I was shocked. She looked at me, her eyes shining. "Since you put Liam's name on the mortgage, I figured we'd just make it official," she said. But she was wrong. Liam's name wasn't on anything. The house was mine. Liam looked at the papers, then at his mother, then he said something that made her scream. Liam looked at the fake contract, saying nothing. His face stayed the same, but I saw his jaw tighten. I knew that look. He was angry. Natalie must have thought he was unsure because she patted his arm and said, "This is the best choice for you, sweetheart. It'll give you security. You deserve a home like this." And she glared at me. "Can find something more her size." The room went silent. I could hear my own heartbeat. Everyone waited for Liam to speak. Finally, in a calm voice, he asked, "Mom, where did you get this?" Natalie smiled proudly. "Oh, a friend made it for me. It's completely legal." That snapped me out of my shock. "Legal? You think you can just cross out my name and put his instead? That's not how homeownership works." Natalie rolled her eyes. "You wouldn't understand. I'm just protecting my son." Liam sighed, put the papers on the kitchen counter, and said clearly, "Mom, I don't own this house. I never have, and I never will, because it's not mine, it's hers." The moment he said that, Natalie's face twisted in anger. "What?" Her voice went sharp. Liam shrugged. "Her name is on the mortgage. Her name is on the deed. I don't own a single part of this house." Natalie blinked quickly like she couldn't believe what she was hearing. But that's not possible." Liam laughed. "Of course it is. Do you think I'd let you pull something like this if my name was on it?" She turned to me, eyes wide. "Tell me he's lying." I crossed my arms. "He's not. I paid for it. I own it. That's the truth." Natalie's hands curled into fists. "This isn't right. A man should own the home, not his wife." Some people in the room gasped. Liam's best friend, Dave, burst out laughing. My cousin muttered, "What year does she think this is?" I expected Liam to yell, but instead, he smiled, and that's when I knew he was about to say something big. "The truth comes out, Mom," he said, sounding almost amused. "You're not really mad about the house, are you?" She pressed her lips together. "Of course I am. This should belong to you." Liam leaned in, speaking low so only she could hear, but I was close enough to catch it. "No," he whispered. "You're mad because you had a plan. You thought if my name was on it, you could take it from me." Natalie's face went pale. The air in the room felt different. Silence stretched for a long moment before Natalie snapped. "How dare you speak to me like that?" she screamed, slamming her hands on the counter. "I am your mother. I know what's best for you." Liam didn't even blink. "Do you?" My heart pounded as I watched her. Something wasn't right. This wasn't just her usual controlling behavior. She had a plan. And suddenly, I understood. I took a slow step toward her. "You were planning to put the house in your name, weren't you?" The moment I said it, her eyes widened. A chill ran down my spine. That was it. That was her real goal. She wasn't just trying to give the house to Liam, she wanted it for herself. Natalie's eyes darted around the room, looking for a way out. Her mouth opened like she wanted to argue, but nothing came out. Liam turned to me. And I saw the realization hit him. Oh my God, he muttered, she was. The room felt even heavier now. The silence wasn't just awkward, it was tense. Everyone waited for her to say something, to explain herself. Then, suddenly, Natalie laughed, a high, sharp sound that didn't sound real. You two are being ridiculous, she said, waving her hand like this was all a joke. Why would I want your house? I crossed my arms. Good question, Natalie, why would you? For a second, I saw something flash across her face, panic, before she quickly covered it up. I was just trying to help my son, she said in a sweet but cold voice. A real wife wouldn't put herself above her husband, a real wife would make sure her husband was taken care of. Liam let out a short, sharp laugh. You mean like Dad took care of you? Natalie's head snapped toward him. Oh. Oh, that hit a nerve. I watched as Natalie's face twisted in anger, her nostrils flaring. The room was silent, you could hear a pin drop. Don't bring your father into this, she hissed. Liam shrugged. Why not? You spent my whole childhood warning me about him. You always said, never let a woman control the money, never let a woman take your house. Natalie's face turned bright red, and suddenly, it all made sense. This wasn't just about me or Liam, this was about her ex-husband. She had lost everything in a divorce, and now she was trying to make sure it didn't happen to Liam, even though there was no reason to believe it ever would. I took a slow step forward. You weren't protecting Liam, you were protecting yourself. Natalie let out a weak laugh. That's ridiculous. I tilted my head. Then why did you cross my name off the contract and put his? If this was really about Liam, why didn't you put both our names? Her jaw tightened. I stepped even closer. Because you planned to take it from him. Natalie exploded. Do you think I'm stupid? She screamed. I know how this ends. First, it's the house is mine. Then come the divorce papers. Then my son is left with nothing. Liam clenched his fists. Jesus, Mom, you think my marriage is going to end like yours? Natalie threw her hands in the air. You never know. Men get screwed over all the time. I was trying to protect you. By stealing our house? I snapped. She spun toward me, pointing a shaking finger in my face. You don't deserve this house. You don't deserve my son. I knew from the beginning you were a selfish little. Liam slammed his fist on the counter. That's enough. Natalie jumped. I'm not Dad, he said, his voice calm but cold. We're not getting divorced, and even if we did, you wouldn't get a say in our house. You were never part of this. For the first time, Natalie looked afraid, but then her fear shifted into something else, something dangerous. She took a deep breath and then, with a sickly sweet smile, said, we'll see about that. And that's when I knew, this wasn't over. The next blow. For 2 weeks, everything was quiet, too quiet. Natalie had stormed out of the party that night, humiliated, but deep down, I knew she wouldn't give up so easily. Then, one morning, I got a letter in the mail, a legal document. I tore it open, already feeling dread. And when I saw what it was, my blood ran cold. Natalie had filed a lawsuit against me. She was trying to claim part of my house. I couldn't believe what I was reading. The document was full of lies, claims that Liam and I bought the house together, that I had tricked him into keeping it in my name, and that Natalie had helped pay for it. None of it was true. I felt sick. I grabbed my phone and called Liam. You're not going to believe this, I said, my hands shaking. When he got home and read the lawsuit, his face turned cold. She's lost her damn mind, he muttered. We knew we had to act fast. We hired a lawyer and gathered every piece of proof, bank statements, mortgage papers, even emails from my lender. There was no way she could win. But winning wasn't the point. She wanted to drag this out, make it stressful, make it expensive. She wanted to wear me down until I gave up. Liam saw it too. She's trying to break you, he said, his fists clenched. But she underestimated me. If she wanted a fight, I'd give her one. The breaking point. The court date finally arrived. I thought Natalie might be nervous, maybe even embarrassed that she had taken things this far. But when she walked in, she was smiling. Like she had already won. She barely looked at me, but she grabbed Liam's arm and whispered, "Don't worry, sweetheart, I'll fix this." Liam yanked his arm away. "You're insane." For 2 hours, we sat in court as our lawyer tore her case apart. Every time Natalie's lawyer tried to argue she had contributed financially, we showed proof that she hadn't. She had no way out. Then she snapped. "This isn't fair," she screamed, standing up so fast her chair fell over. The judge banged his gavel. "Ma'am, sit down." But she wasn't listening. She spun toward me, eyes burning with rage. "You're a liar, a gold digger. You don't deserve this house. You don't deserve my son. You're just like his father's second wife, taking everything and leaving him with nothing. Liam shot up from his chair, his voice sharp. Mom, stop. Natalie whirled to face him. I'm doing this for you. And then Liam said the words that shattered her. I don't want anything from you. I don't want your help. I don't even want you in my life anymore. Silence filled the courtroom. Natalie froze, her mouth opening and closing like she wanted to speak but couldn't find the words. Liam stepped closer, his voice firm. You've been controlling me my whole life. I let it go because I thought you loved me. But this? Trying to steal from my wife? Lying in court? I'm done. For the first time, Natalie looked truly afraid. Sweetheart, she whispered, reaching for him. I just wanted to protect you. Liam pulled away. No, you wanted to control me, and I won't let you anymore. Then he turned to me, his eyes full of regret. The case was thrown out right away. Natalie had no legal claim. The judge even scolded her for wasting the court's time. But she didn't give up. After the hearing, she did everything she could to make Liam forgive her. She called, emailed, and even showed up at his job, crying and saying she never meant for things to go that far. But Liam was done. He blocked her number, stopped answering, told his workplace security not to let her in. And me? I felt free. For 5 years, I had dealt with her trying to control my marriage, my husband, and my life. Now, she had gone too far. It's been almost a year since that day. Natalie is still out of our lives. A few months ago, she sent Liam a long letter, saying she was getting help and wanted to be a good mother again. He read one paragraph, then threw it in the trash. And us? We're happier than ever. That house, my house, is still mine. And now, it's a home where no one is trying to steal it from me. Natalie thought she could control everything. Instead, she lost everything.